want to talk about the Patterson cycle. So it feels like things got pretty caffeinated these last several years, and you in the past proposed what's come to be known as the Patterson cycle, which can be explained roughly as venture business has a pattern of roughly 8 years of growth followed by 6 years of retrenchment. So is the current retrenchment unfolding at the time and pace you expected? Is this correction we're seeing now correlated to general market conditions, or is it specific somehow to venture? How long and severe do you think it'll be?
Yeah, well, I think the cycle is observable through, say, 2005 or 6, which would have been the, quote, 5 years down off of 2021. And so about 13 or 14, we should have this thing roll over again. And so that's that. But yeah, I mean, you can observe the cycle historically going back to the 60s. That's not very interesting. The question is the causality of the cycle.
Yep.
And I personally think it was particularly the semiconductors, and underneath this whole thing you had a 30% steady decline. So it was as if oil was free every 6 years. And so the project, you couldn't do Facebook in 2000, but you could by 2006. And
because the price of semiconductors,
because the computing capacity and everything was zero, and relatively speaking, it was down to, at 30% of years, down to 10% of what it was in 5 or 6 years earlier.
Okay.
And I think we exhausted the and you could see that in the 99-2001 period. A lot of companies just got they shouldn't have been done. They actually were done 10 years later, but they shouldn't have been done then. The preconditions weren't established. And you know, the Amazons and whatever went bankrupt. So then the question is, well, why should we have extended this cycle another 7 or 8 years? And is there a cycle operating? And I think going back to what's the causality? I would say the causality is this time we had maybe 4 or 5 basic technologies working for us instead of just the semiconductor cycle. We had cloud, we had mobile, we had big data, we had machine learning.
It was pretty awesome.
And these things combined, and then you could say there's the critical importance of the technology, digital technology, to all of corporations, all business, was just much more profound this time. And of course, things like the security business hardly existed in the old days. Now, half the corporate IT budget's going to security, and so that's so there've been whole new causalities that have been underneath it. The dirty little secret is, though, that no venture guy has a clue whether he's going to be able to ever do another good deal again, because this experimental process going on, and you're groping for it, and you just don't know whether you've exhausted the fish in the pond for now. Then, run the thing forward 5 or 6 years, be a renewal cycle, and there'll be a new basis, but you just can't tell. And where you are, that being the good news, because it means you don't have to worry about it.